Indeed you are, brother. You are one of the Monkees. A very good evening to you all and welcome to a date with a dinner set here on November the 19th. It is programme number 178. You are most welcome. I do hope this finds you well. Gosh, that was a quick week in my honest opinion. I don't know about you, but it just seems not so many minutes ago that we were sitting here talking, doing all those sorts of things. Hello, Alison. Yes, I thought you might you might recognise that. It's one of those iconic theme tunes, isn't it? And we like to open our show on a Sunday evening with something iconic. So that was indeed the theme tune to the TV series The Monkees, which started running, well, certainly in the USA, in 1966. And it ran for 2 seasons, I think, running to about 50-something episodes. I don't actually know when it reached us here in the UK, but I'm going to roughly guess sometime the 70s. Elder brother, you might be able to sort of give an opinion about that. I'm not saying you're opinionated, obviously, but you're very good on history, as it were. And now that theme tune was written by Tommy BOYCE, and Tommy is the chap there with the guitar. And for those of you who don't know much about the Monkees, the band itself was a manufactured one, and although they did actually sing 2 backing tracks, but they didn't compose any of their own songs. But interestingly, well, perhaps not interestingly, the albums that they actually produced got more sort of listenings than the TV series. However, I think it's one of those very memorable series that was around when growing up. So that was our opening one today. Now you can probably see tonight's time is a monopoly time. And I don't wish to monopolise any situation. Being of a shy and retiring sort of person, I would never wish to do that. However, since I'm the only one with cameras and a microphone, it seems slightly inevitable that I will be monopolising the situation for worse or better. Anyway, you are most welcome to a Date with a Dinner Set programme 178 on November the 19th, whether you're with us live and chatting away as you do in the chat room, or whether, as most of you do, you are watching on some sort of catch-up. As usual, we've got our mix of 9 things today. It's what I call an almost perfect mix tonight, in that we've got some standards, we've got some triple time, we've got some TV, we've got some film, we've got some musical, something new and something I can't read. So it's going to be lots and lots of fun, as always, on a date with a dinner set. It's not bad, Alison, is it? Do you want to buy it? I'm having a turf out, not a turf out. I'm having a sort of clear up of my life. It's about time, really. And I've reorganised all my ties and come across all sorts that I haven't worn for ages. So there we go. Anyway, enough rattling. I will have a sip of coffee, and then we need to open another show. He did give it away, but he didn't mean to. It's just quite weird. I just have a few little crib notes here so that I don't forget what we're up to, and start broadcasting a load of rubbish. And and I saw another opening, another show written down on my list, being the first song, and I thought I was being teleprompted. That was exactly what I needed to say, so that's what happened. But it was indeed, as you all rightly said, another opening, another show from the 1948 musical Kiss Me Kate by Mr. Cole Porter. What a wonderful musical. It's one of, I was discussing this with somebody the other day, this musical, and we said, yeah, it's a rubbish show in terms of how the play works, but every single bit of music, every single song in that show, and about 20 of them, they are all hits. And that's just, it's just how Cole Porter does it, really, isn't it? But I really like that. It's one of those, it's a bit cliched because it is your stereotypical sort of two-beat Showtime Broadway type of number, but I just like it for its busyness, for its liveliness. The fact that it's a jolly little number, indeed, it is. Oh, there we go. There we go. You see, I think it's good, Jill, that sons, when they're in their 30s, still talk to their mothers. I think that's excellent. So, as always, if you like what you are seeing and hearing, don't forget to press that thumbs up button, and it will illuminate for you to tell you that you have done that. Okay. So, as I say, we've got quite a mix this evening, mostly very well-known things. There's a few that you may not know, or not know so well. So the next one seems appropriate for the time of year, and we first introduced it to A Date with a Dinner Set around about this time last year. So, hope you enjoy, and if you don't know the song, hope you enjoy the scenery. I've mesmerised you all. Very, very beautiful song. Quite what I'm going to call an angular song. Some very interesting melodic shapes, and particularly the chord sequence. And it actually comes from much further ago than I thought. It was actually composed. I'm just going to let that run because it's rather nice scenery, isn't it? And it'd take a little time to put that together, so might as well let it run. But Brother Mark, you didn't even say anything there. I was going to say before, it's one of those where, for once, I've actually matched matched my bit of footage quite well. Well, very well. In fact, extremely well, if I may say so. And indeed, I did say so. Because it's a question of a bit like catchphrase, say what you see, and you are seeing some wonderful pictures of autumn in New York. And guess what? The title of that song was Autumn in New York from 1934, and it was composed by this chap, Mr. Vernon Duke. And one of Vernon Duke's other famous songs was April in Paris, which we actually play in April, usually, well, somewhat appropriately. I think April in Paris is probably more famous than that one. However, that song, Autumn in New York from 1934, has been most famously recorded by Frank Sinatra, but there have been other covers by Billie Holiday, Bing Crosby, blah, 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 blah. And another interesting fact about that song is that Vernon Duke just wrote it because he wanted to write a song. He was so enamoured by the sights of autumn, fall in New York. He thought, you know what, I'm going to write a song about it. He wasn't commissioned to write it. And then he offered it, and it turned up in a musical a few years later. So there you go. Autumn in New York is what it was. Good evening, Martin and Jeannie. How wonderful to see you. We will move on, but not before. Oh, yeah, well, there you go, Mark. Sometimes your stupid suggestions really aren't that off kilter, are they, chap? You know what I mean. You know what I mean. If you're new to this, which may be some people on the catch-up, and you want to know what's going on, then please email me and let me know what's going on, because I haven't got a clue. But this is YouTube channel Gigi the Piano Man, and if you want to know a bit more about it, you probably need to be subscribed. Press that bell notification if you want to know when things are happening. You have choices when you press that bell notification. On this channel, YouTube Gigi the Piano Man, as you know, we do this live show every Sunday at 18:30 for around about an hour. And then we do a video upload every Friday morning. We're not doing a theme special at the moment, but we do lots of extra things as well. So do be subscribed, please. That would be wonderful if you did. Okay, so we're going to move on now. A bit of my black coffee. This is lovely bluesy, slow, really, really bluesy. Like, can I say dirty blues? I'm going to say dirty blues. It's really nice, smoochy, dirty blues song, and it's new to A Date Within a Set this evening. I don't know how well known it is, but it's rather nice. I do hope you enjoy. A mesmerising mountain of coffee beans, indeed. I know. I didn't dare look at the screen. I was salivating away there. As Kate has correctly identified, that is a wonderful, smoochy, dirty, bluesy ballad called Black Coffee. And, well, I matched it quite well again, didn't I, really? And gave you a clue beforehand. I sort of knew it a little bit before, but it's got a wonderful chord sequence. Jill, I know exactly where you're coming from, and Mark with your suggestions of Gershwin and Mancini reflectively. It's something to do with that chord sequence is rather nice. But that's what it was. It's from 1948. 1948 that song was composed. And very famously recorded in 1949. Oh, was it? Fantastic. What, for piano? Wow. It's a really, really, really nice piece. It was famously recorded in 1949 by Peggy Lee, and there she is. And in the background is the composer. Playing away is Sonny Burke. And I could find pictures of Sonny Burke, but not in colour, and I thought that was rather a nice one, with that rather wonderful recording equipment going on, and Sonny Burke sort of playing away in the background. So I thought I'd show you that picture of its composer, Sonny Burke. As I say, playing away, enjoying himself. Quite a day to marimba, you might say. Well, there you go. I shall lookerate that up and see what they did to that, and see if I was anywhere near with my realisation of the chords. Thanks very much for that info. So, I don't know, this program just flows, doesn't it? From one bit to another, just the links and the segues, they're just so great. And there's some more coffee indicating that should you wish to make a donation to this merry little channel and top up my coffee and my electricity. And actually, crucially, I would love to get the piano tuned before Christmas. It is getting slightly fruity, shall we say. The change of the weather, you see, that's what it is, the change of the weather. But as always, we love doing this on YouTube so much. But if you feel moved to make a donation, then the link is underneath the video. It is, as always, www.paypal.me/GG the Piano Man. Blum, 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 blum. Seamless segues and alluringly attractive alliteration, brother, if I may say so. Very nice chap. So I hope it hasn't sent you into a sleep. If it has, then it really is time to wake up. I'll have a bit of coffee before we move on to the next one, which we haven't had. We did have it at the start of 2023, but as we approach the end of 2023, why not chuck it in again? Here we go. Indeed, that's what it is. Don't they have a lovely house, by the way? It's just coming up in your screen. A little cottage in Devon that they lived in. Well, I don't think it's your bad at all, brother, actually, because they are all pretty similar in style, as composed, of course, by the wonderful Mr. I can't find you, Mr. Barry Gray. Local man, lived in Esher for much of his life, and did a lot of the recording of those iconic scores to the Jerry and Sylvia Anderson series. But that was indeed Joe 90, which originally was broadcast in 1968. And I think it's one of those that is of its time. I very much enjoyed it, apart from that scary spinning thing, the rat. But I think the concept is, well, it's of its time. I'm going to keep saying it's of its time, but it's slightly odd, really. It's an all-male cast. We're not a female to be seen anywhere, and Joe is the 9-year-old adopted son of this sort of professor who decides to experiment, basically, on his beloved child and sort of fry his brain, basically. Not only that, give him guns and put him in lots and lots of danger every episode, but lots of fun. Very much of its time. Joe 90, that's what it was, 1968. Barry Gray, I do hope you enjoyed that one. Now, let's have a little look at what we uploaded on Friday. So on Friday the 17th, we're continuing the series of Antonio Carlos Jobim. And on Friday, this one not quite so well known. It's You Are Always Love. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that one. The Brazilian Portuguese. It's really, really nice and quite a gentle one. I can recommend it if you're feeling a bit bilious and you want something to relax to. Do give it a listen. Really, it's one of those that it does work as a piano cover, but if you actually listen to it being sung either by Tom Jobim himself or one of the many other people that have covered it, it is a very, very beautiful song. So, as I say, in November we have been doing Antonio Carlos Jobim to add to the collection of covers we have of his. So there is a playlist of his covers on the channel. There we go. We're going to move on. Again, we've had this one before, but you're quite allowed not to remember the title. You may get the composer. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Either way, do enjoy. You're back in the groove, brother. You're saying what you see, and you are actually right. It's not his title, but that indeed was the Laurentide Waltz, and it comes from the 1964 Canadiana suite by Mr. Oscar Peterson. Smiley Oscar, what a wonderful chap. What a wonderful chap. There he is in his heyday before his very sad decline towards the end. But he wrote that wonderful 8-movement suite for piano and bass and drums, his trio, back in 1964. It is from the Canadiana suite, indeed, Hannah. And I don't know, this might amuse you. It amuses me. I first bought that music when I was still at school. I was delighted to actually get some written out jazz. Very delighted to be able to. You don't often get written out jazz published, so I was very delighted and then very disappointed that it didn't bear any relation to what I thought it should do, or indeed the recording. And I thought, oh, Laurentide, that's a nice. I wonder when Laurentide is. I thought it was like one of those funny times of year, you see, like Michaelmas, but it's not, is it? It's about the Laurentian mountains, which you saw there, so well identified. You see, geography is not my strong point. Amongst many other subjects, it's not my strong point. But even I can appreciate the absolute beauty of that and can see why Oscar Peterson wrote that suite with each movement dedicated to a different area of his beloved homeland. So at this point, we'll just give you a reminder to like, comment, share, particularly if you just joined us. I know some people lurk in the background. They don't like to be seen or indeed obscene in the chat room. But do give it a like, a comment and a share, and if you haven't subscribed, then do so. Pass it on, as it were. Let me have a sip of magic water, and I know, I saw it pop up. You see, I was already mid-flow, Hannah. I saw it pop up there on my screen, but well done. I'll have a sip of water, and then it will be time to go on with our next song. Did you notice that? Nearly shoved the water bottle up my nose. You see, spatial coordination is not my strong subject either. Indeed, Jill. It is Biding My Time. Biding My Time by, there he is, Mr. George Gershwin. And it was composed in 1930 for Girl Crazy. And it's one of those wonderful Gershwin songs that's been covered by so many people. Who should we name? But I know's covered it. Judy Garland, Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, blah, 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 blah. Just loads of people. Nat King Cole. It's a really, really nice one. And, of course, it helps that it's got that slightly hypnotic, kind of dreamy, as Alison says, rhythm going on to it. I do like to pat myself on the back occasionally, but you see, there's a link between my tie and what I'm going to say, so I'm jolly glad that I found it. Okay, credit to Colin and no credit to Jill. Jill, you lose 10 points. Colin, well done. But you may be interested to know. You may not be interested to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. But today, November the 19th, is National Play Monopoly Day. I know, you heard it here. Apologies to our American friends, because I know a few people do listen in, but it seems there is absolutely no end to what they can come up with to celebrate. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Sorry, Jill. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Perhaps it's nice to have a focus each day, but for my money, do you see what I'm doing there? For my money, I think it's just nice enough just to, live another day, really, and enjoy it for what it is. We don't need to celebrate things in particular. But there we go. Our American friends have said November the 19th is National Play Monopoly Day, so that's why I had to find this tie. Actually, I've got two Monopoly ties. That's greedy. It's a monopoly on Monopoly ties, so to speak. But this seemed the more appropriate one for the occasion. Now, it's a bit late in the programme, but you might want to give your views about Monopoly. Brother Mark, you may recall what happened in our household whenever we as a family sat down for a very short while, usually, to play Monopoly, before someone. Now, which brother was it that really used to have a tantrum with Monopoly and pick up the board and throw it, pieces, money and all? Was it you? Was it our brother Adrian? Or was it someone else? I cannot remember. I don't think it was Ray. I think Monopoly had been destroyed by the time our younger brother came along. But maybe all of you in the chat room may have a view about the joys or otherwise for playing Monopoly. Mr. Christopher Turville, indeed. It seems ages since I've seen you, chap. It must be at least 3 hours. Amazing. There we go. Come on, say something about Monopoly, you people. It wasn't me, was it? Was it Mother that used to throw the board up and have a tantrum? Or was it Father that used to get a migraine or a bilious attack or a vertigo attack and had to go and lie down for 4 days whenever we played it? I don't know. I'll leave that thought with you. Hello, Rosie and David. I don't know, Rosie, I don't know what you do. You break it, don't you, every week. It's very good to see you both. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I'm just going to let you consider the joys of playing Monopoly. Oh, Flynn the Banker. Gosh, yes, I bet that was a great mistake. A terrible cheat. Now, I wonder if he cheats in the same way that I used... Ooh, I'm giving it away now. I think we'll play the next song. say, Mrs. Jill Turville, Colin is on form tonight. Indeed, that was Pick Yourself Up and Start All Over Again, composed by Mr. Jerome Kern in 1936. And it was for the film Swing Time, starring Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and there they are. And apparently the choreography, the dance routine that goes with that very lovely, happy song is widely believed to be one of Fred's best. So there you go. Alison, actually, I've only just seen your comment. You know how it is; they fly by. You were hiding underneath a sidebar or something on my screen. Isn't that Shakespeare? Hiding my nettle under a strawberry sidebar, said Henry IV, Part 7, or something. Anyway, Pick Yourself Up from 1936 is what that was. So we are sort of edging towards the end of this evening's programme, but I'm just I've got you going about Monopoly, haven't I? I tell you. Reading the manuals is a very interesting thing. So I'm throwing a little family anecdote here, and this is my downward family rather than my upward and linear family. Recently, my lovely ex and I went up to Cambridge to help my lovely daughter move to Ely. And when we were reassembling the furniture, Catherine and I just wing it with, particularly with sort of self-assembly furniture. We just said, we'll just knock that together. We just push that bit on there, doing that. And our lovely daughter, Ali, was getting very stressed and very shrieky at times, saying, read the manual. I've put all the instructions out, read the manual. But we didn't, and it all worked. So there you go. I thought I'd throw that in. Now look, coming up next week, because we, believe it or not, we will be at the end of November next week. So we do a little bit of news about what's happening on the channel, what has happened in the last month on the channel, and indeed looking forward to what will be happening on the channel in the month of December. So that's in next week's programme. And meanwhile, we will move into our penultimate song this evening. Thank you, Alison. Gosh, I'm honoured. Do you know, I was going to lose so much sleep about that one, but thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kate, for throwing that in and putting an end to all those ridiculous suggestions. No, it does sound very like Fly Me to the Moon, chord sequence-wise, but it was indeed The Shadow of Your Smile, and it was from the film from 1965, The Sandpiper, and it was composed by Mr. Johnny Mandel. Johnny Mandel, who I think he passed away of COVID in 2020, but certainly 2020, after a very long career composing and arranging for all the greats. And that song, The Shadow of Your Smile, was certainly quite a hit for Tony Bennett, but then quite a few things were a hit for Tony Bennett, weren't they? Astrid Gilberto, somebody mentioned that, Martin and Jeannie mentioned that one as well. So there you go. So we are going to move into our final song this evening before we round up this merry jape that is A Date Within a Set Programme 178 on November the 19th. So do enjoy our final song this evening. Indeed, Part of Your World from Little Mermaid, composed by that wonderful songwriter, Mr. Alan Menken, from 1989, the first film in the so-called Disney revival. They could probably do with another revival, couldn't they, soon? I didn't say that. I do hope you've had a good time here on A Date with a Dinner Set. I have always enjoyed playing for you, and indeed tonight has been no exception. That was a funny sentence, wasn't it? And I do wish you a very good week that is to come. Thank you so much for being here in the chat room, whether you've been listening live or whether you've been lurking or whether you're watching on the catch-up. Do take very good care of yourselves, and I look forward to the great pleasure of playing for you again next Sunday. Thank you so much. Good night.